Hey there, Patriots. Welcome back to the front lines. This is Death Watch here to give you guys more intel so you can update your personal armory and fight back against the fake news media machine. And today we're going to be discussing boycotts because conservatives are finally having, finally getting some backbone. They're finally starting to collectively agree on something and say, hey, these companies, we got to stop funding them. We got to stop, going to baseball games, football games, no matter where. If we see their brand, we're not buying it. Okay, we're protesting, we're boycotting all this, right? And you gotta love to see it, right? And disclaimer, real quick, it doesn't matter if you're left wing, right wing, moderate, middle of the road, don't care, top down, bottom, whatever, right? You are allowed to boycott a company because it's a free market society, right? If a company does not, or just a general store doesn't align with your political, religious, ethical, moral standards, right? You're allowed to say, hey, I'm going to take my money and go to a competitor. You're allowed to do that. That's a free market. That's how the free market is supposed to work, right? And conservatives are saying, hey, we're not going to fund, buy Bud Light's products because they're teaming up with a very weird person that we do not agree with, right? That person is Dylan Mulvaney, right? We talked about this person before. Dylan Mulvaney, a biological male who decided that, hey, I'm gonna make a TikTok account where I'm going to, hey, follow me on my journey through womanhood, right? Plenty of actual biological women on social media, in on TikTok, everywhere, right? Why specifically is Dylan Mulvaney getting grabbed, right? Singled out, grabbed, and giving all this celebrity treatment, right? Was on Drew Barrymore, different news outlets in what's it, fashion magazines giving this person exclusive interviews and stuff like that, right? Just because they said, hey, I'm a woman now, right? It's like, well, there's plenty of biological women. There's plenty of people who are born female, right? Why exactly is Dylan Mulvaney being singled out? Why is Anheuser-Busch commemorating Dylan Mulvaney in their 1 year journey, Drew, being a woman, right? That's bizarre. That's weird. Majority of Republicans do not agree with that. Majority of Americans are kind of like, what? What's going on here, right? And so they decided that, hey, we're going to, for the April campaign. I don't know, I can't remember if it was for March Madness, but this video was like, hey, but like it's, we're teaming up to celebrate some sports team and stuff like that. It's like, I don't know anything about sports, but go team, whoever your team is, right? And it's like, that's kind of weird for this person not to be, for you to team up with this person and advertise your Bud Light, and this person clearly doesn't even understand like what exactly what exactly is the message you want them to like actually preach. But again, Bud Light just decided, hey, we're going to team up with Dylan Mulvaney, congratulate them on their 1 year anniversary of being a woman, and the woman behind that fiasco is now gone. Reported by the Daily Caller. Right, Daily Caller reached out to Anheuser-Busch, said, "Hey, these guys were put on administrative leave after they were losing you guys $27 billion, right, and counting. Okay, they were put on administrative leave. Are they still working for that company?" Anheuser-Busch finally reached out saying that, hey, given the circumstances, Alyssa has decided to take a leave of absence, and also Daniel Blake is taking a leave of absence, right? Daniel Blake was the person who hired Alyssa, right? So not only did they get rid of Alyssa, who was the person who orchestrated Bud Light's downfall, but they also got rid of the guy who dared, who was in charge of hiring her in the first place, right? Target also decided to do the same thing for their Pride collection. They decided to team up with some weirdo who's out here posting, having like pins and shirts and all this crap that says Satan respects pronouns, and was it a tuck friendly one Piece? Forgot what was a conservative who went out to a Target, put on the One Piece, acted like he was a customer, genuinely happy that he could finally find a One Piece that finally fits him, and actually tucks tucks his package away, right, while it being seen. And clearly it didn't tuck anything away. Okay, he was just standing there talking to these women and clearly making them feel uncomfortable, making them wish that, like, kind of like regret and think about why exactly is Target advertising these type of clothing to, weirdos, right? He definitely played up that character pretty well. It was hilarious. But it's just weird for, Target and all these other companies teaming up with absolute radical weirdos that nobody, majority of Americans don't agree with their crap, right? They don't understand, right? Hershey, remember that, for International Women's Day to commemorate women of everywhere, right? We're going to not only have actual, I think it was 4 people. We're going to have 3 biological women and then a trans woman who, in their pronouns, it's 2SLGBTQ, whatever, right? I don't even like where did the 2S what? Huh? Right? Most people only know LGBT, right? QIAP, whatever. Nobody knows what the majority of people don't know what the hell any of that is. That's why they just said LGBTQ plus, right? Because all the other alphabets, nobody understands that. The new flags, nobody knows what all that crap means, right? They keep updating it every year, right? Now there's a 2S in front of LGBTQ. What does 2S mean? Nobody knows, right? Majority of Americans don't know, but for some reason, these political activists, these radical elements of the left, keep getting hired at these companies, and these companies say, hey, let's advertise our products to this far fringe radical group. You're alienating majority of Americans, and conservatives are finally saying enough is enough. Okay, but one of the weird things that also has people kind of scratching their heads as to why exactly is Dylan Mulvaney being partnered by all these different companies, all these different TV shows, right? Again, far radical examples of America that a very 1%, right, less than 1% of America actually identifies as trans or 2S LGBTQ, whatever, right? Nobody knows what any of that means. But why exactly are these people being pushed out into the limelight, right? Being presented as if they are a huge part of the overall American identity, right? A lot of people are saying it's probably because of ESG. Now, ESG is kind of a social credit system. It's very ambiguous, right? Every podcast, every article I try to read about this, it's very ambiguous, right? Because what ESG is essentially Wall Street investors determine how profitable, right? That's how they kind of sell this whole crap. Is we determine how profitable a company is by essentially giving them a score based off of our ambiguous like grading system, our grading scale, and the overall score is your ESG score, and that determines if a company is profitable enough for investors, Wall Street investors, to then give them their money, right? And so that kind of just sounds like a kind of scam to me, right? And a lot of people are saying that, hey, it looks like it is a scam, right? Even Elon Musk comes out and says, hey, that's weird, right? Because my ESG score is 65, yet a tobacco company has an 85 ESG score, right? Because ESG stands for economic or environmental, social, and governance, right? The E, environment, that's pretty much your eco-friendly nonsense that you're starting to see push. By 2030, 2050, we're supposed to have zero carbon emission. Hey, companies, you guys need to start dialing back your carbon footprint. Some of it is okay, right? You don't want companies polluting waters. You don't want them to literally go to third world countries, exploit those countries, dump a bunch of filth and garbage there, right? Like you see that's mainly what Rio is. Rio is literally the garbage dump of the world, right? It's ridiculous how disgusting that is. You don't want companies continuing that practice. I understand that, but all this other green energy fiasco that a lot of people, it has a lot of controversy. A lot of actual scientists coming back and pushing, saying, hey, all this wind turbines, solar energy, lithium batteries, they're not really that good, right? Because once they break, there's no repairing them. You have to dispose the whole thing, dump it, and then rebuild it a whole new one, right? And guess where you had to mine lithium from? In Africa, in Middle East, in all these third world countries that are heavily exploited. Okay, S stands for social. That's where your social activism comes from, right? What are companies doing to essentially virtue signal that they care about black lives, that they care about minorities, that they care about disparities around the world, right? Again, that's very controversial because a lot of these companies come out and say, we care so much about all this crap. Here we're donating money. Here we're bringing on diversity spokespeople to talk on behalf of the company. But yet, again, we look at their practices. it's all over the place. It's very contradictory. Okay, governance. Governance is who exactly, how is the company being run, right? Do they have enough diversity hires? Do they have enough people of essential backgrounds to make themselves look good on paper, but in actuality, right? But Light, again, going back to these individuals, you can completely say, hey, this is governance, right? When this lady was interviewed, this little picture right here comes from a podcast interview where she was saying, oh, this is all the ways I want to, change Bud Light and make Bud Light grow as a brand, right? Spews out nonsense, woke rhetoric that we've all heard from political activists on the left, radical left wing, right? Guess what? Lost Bud Light $27 billion in counting. And not only did she get axed, but the guy who hired her got axed. Okay. So again, we're seeing that it all flows in one way. We don't know what ESG really is. It's a social credit score that is made up by Wall Street investors to determine if they want to invest in a company or not, right? And it seems more like they're using it to say, hey, it will be unfortunate if you guys don't follow our ambiguous guidelines in order to keep your ESG scores up, because it'll be a shame if your next, when 2024 comes around and the next score ratings come out, your ESG score goes down, right? People won't find that you're profitable enough and people won't want to invest in your company. So it'll be very beneficial to you guys to follow our guidelines, right? And who are these people making most of the guidelines? Well, Larry Fink at BlackRock constantly pops up, and several other like corporations constantly pop up as big investors in a lot of these companies that you constantly see going woke, right? Go woke, go broke. Some of these companies are not going broke because they have a lot of investors, a lot of people who are keeping them alive, running, and kicking, right? But hopefully there's going to be a shift, right? We are seeing Bud Light completely go, Anheuser-Busch, they're completely going down, okay? We're seeing Target, they're losing billions of dollars, right? A lot of companies are now getting scared, and we're seeing it that, hey, if we go a little bit too left like we've been doing, we're now going to start seeing our profits plummet. Okay. So hopefully this keeps going on. And again, it doesn't matter if you're left wing, right wing, up, down, center, whatever, right? You are allowed to boycott. But I'm just saying, hey, I'm glad to see Republicans finally, for once, having some backbone and collectively saying, hey, we are not going to fund these companies who clearly hate their own customer base. So, like always, stay safe, stay sane, be vigilant, and I'll see you guys on the front lines.